Genitals do matter when it comes to sex, is the bottom line. Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. You're here at Stage Stick with Kit, and today I'm doing another reaction video. I haven't done one of these for a while, and I saw something pop up on my feed. It's got a really controversial topic. Today I'm going to be reacting to, I think, is it Riley Dennis, I think? If you're transphobic, if you don't want to date me, or something along those lines. But I thought, why not? Hey, I mean, we're talking about dating, so let's get it. Right, let's get this started.
Would you date someone who's trans? Would you date someone who's black? Would you date someone who's fat? Would you date someone who's disabled? Now, honestly, I don't know what your answer is to those questions, but I've met a surprising number of people who would say no to all, or at least some of them. Their argument is that it's just a preference and that you can't control who you're attracted to. I think most of the time that this is brought up, it's in regards to race. I'll link to a couple really good videos in the description about racial dating preferences, but in this video, I want to talk about our other biases. Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person, honestly? Think about it for a second. Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're a horrible person who hates trans people. There was probably a time in my life when I said I wouldn't date a trans person. But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind. I could sit here and show you photos of conventionally attractive trans people. There are definitely trans people who you would never know are trans unless they told you, because they pass for cis. And that might convince some of you. But I think arguing that you would only like a trans person if you didn't know they were trans is a poor argument. I think you could be attracted to any trans person, whether they pass or not. I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect. Because we associate
which is important.
men and vaginas with women, some people think they could never date a trans man with a vagina or a trans woman with a penis. But I think that people are more than their genitals. I think that you could feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs. And if you were to...
You can feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs, but ultimately, what's between their legs, what determines if you actually want to have sex with the person. Being attracted to someone and wanting to have sex with someone are two very different things.
Say that you're only attracted to people with vaginas or people with penises, it really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects, so I guess you're kind of genitalifying them? Anyway, my point is, we have implicit biases that we were raised with or that we developed over time, and they can be hard to get rid of. And I think this can be especially prominent within the queer community. Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises. It's difficult because some queer people have built their sexual identities on these repulsions, but I don't think
people have built their sexual identities upon these repulsions. I thought your sexual identity was what you're attracted to, as opposed to necessarily what repulses you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not up to date, and there are a lot of terms going on.
Think they're innate at all. If you met someone who was extremely attractive, had a great personality, but didn't have the genitals that you wanted, you might be surprised to find that it isn't a deal breaker. As someone who is trans and gay, sometimes people ask me with a very accusatory tone if I would date a girl with a penis. Because there's this stereotype that trans lesbians are just predatory cis men creeping on cis women. But the thing is, I absolutely could be attracted to a woman with a penis. I could be attracted to any woman, cis or trans. If I find you attractive, I don't care what you have down there. But we know that sexual orientations are more innate than learned. They're more nature and less nurture. Gay conversion therapy has been proven not to work, but you can unlearn your own prejudices. It just takes time.
Hold on. How can you say that your dating preference for what gender or sex you're attracted to is purely nature, but then say what your preference is purely nurture? Surely that's contradictory. If you're attracted to something and that's what you're just naturally attracted to, then what you're attracted to is natural. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
Time and conscious effort. And the way that we talk about potentially dating trans people has a lot in common with the way we discuss other preferences. Saying that you're not attracted to fat people isn't innate. It's informed by a society that tells you that being thin is ideal. Everything in the media...
No, because some people are attracted to fat people. And that's not... Hold up. If you say that people are only attracted to quote-unquote fit or slim people because that's what society tells us, i.e. society tells us not to be attracted to people who are overweight, then how does that explain people who are attracted to people who are overweight? Because there are people out there who are attracted to people who on the larger end of the spectrum, but they haven't been taught that. So then how have they been taught that if there is so much contradiction in this video already? I'm only halfway through. Okay, whatever.
The media you consume is bombarding you with messages that skinny is beautiful and fat is ugly. And even the nicest of people absorb these messages to some degree. But again, if you find someone attractive and really enjoy spending time with them, there's no reason why their weight should be a factor. Especially since we know that the relationship between weight and health is extremely complex, and you really can't make any moral judgments on a person based on their weight. And lastly, let's talk about disabled people. Disabilities come in a very wide range, from being deaf to being in a wheelchair to only having one arm, and I think it's pretty ridiculous to say that you couldn't be attracted to any person who has any of those disabilities. Disabilities can happen to anyone. Someone you're extremely attracted to today could become disabled tomorrow, and that shouldn't make your attraction to them disappear. Though if it does, it might not be because of them, but rather because you have some preconceived ideas about disabled people that are just inaccurate and harmful. Unsurprisingly, this is another case of the media telling you that a certain group isn't attractive. Disabled people are rarely romantic leads. Their stories in movies and TV shows are often tragic, but that doesn't reflect the reality that disabled people can be happy and have dating lives.
No one's saying that they can't.
Now, if you're not attracted to someone, you're not attracted to them. I'm not going to tell you that you have to be attracted to this fat person or that trans person.
That is kind of what you're saying.
But the more you work at unlearning your own prejudices, the more you'll be able to see people from these groups as people rather than tired stereotypes. Unlearning our own biases doesn't happen overnight, and I don't have a step-by-step instruction guide for you. But I think if you can accept that these prejudices exist in all of us, even you can identify them when they come up and work to change how you think about them. It will most likely be a long, slow process, but I think it's worth it. Because these dating preferences are ultimately harmful to people who don't fit into your box of what a conventionally attractive person looks like. It makes people feel isolated, alone, and unwanted to hear that they're universally unattractive to people. I don't think there's anyone out there who somebody doesn't find attractive. We're sold this image of the conventionally attractive person, but in reality, all kinds of people around the world are constantly dating, having sex, finding people attractive, getting married. It's not only the conventionally attractive who find love.
No one's saying that.
So by working on ourselves to dispel that idea, we can make the world a more welcoming and loving place for everybody, no matter how they look. This video is a part of my Feminism with Riley series that I'm doing in collaboration with Everyday Feminism, a website dedicated to helping you stand up to and break down everyday oppression. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about various feminist topics. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. So basically, Riley was saying, I'm going to say Riley because I don't know what his or her preferred pronoun is. Basically, if you're a woman and you're attracted to a guy, and part of the reason you have sex with him is because he has male genitalia, then that means you're transphobic? There were so many contradictions in this video. Either what you're attracted to is purely innate, or it's purely constructed by society. I do think there actually might be some kind of, okay, if you grew up around Jamaicans and African, like if you grew up in like a black culture, right, then it doesn't matter what your skin color is, then you might be more drawn to people who are from that culture, but that's more of a familiarity as opposed to just because they're black, do you know what I mean? And vice versa the other way. I don't think if you're a woman and you want to date a guy and the guy is a trans man, so doesn't have a penis, so that means you don't want to have sex with him, then that doesn't make you transphobic. That just means you don't want to have sex with them because they don't turn you on. Like, there's a difference between being attracted to someone and wanting to have sex with someone. Let me try and find some common ground. I do think that we need to change the way we say what we're attracted to. So like, for example, like there might be some women, for example, out there who say, okay, I'm not attracted to Asian guys, right? That can be perceived as racist. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not attracted to Asian guys, it's more of saying, I'm yet to meet an Asian guy that I've been attracted to, if that makes sense. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And you may never meet an Asian guy that you're attracted to, or you may meet one tomorrow and you are attracted to him. I don't think you having preference for a type of person, like physical traits, makes you have a phobia of all the other traits that you've said that you're not attracted to. Because you can't help what you're attracted to. Like, you can't help if you're turned on by someone, even though maybe you know that you shouldn't be. Because, I don't know, it might be like your best mate's girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend. It's a teacher at school, or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's someone's mum, I don't know. But like, you can't tell a gay guy he's sexist just because he's not sexually attracted to women. And you can't tell a straight woman that she's sexist because she's not attracted to trans men who don't have penises. There's a lot of terminology going on there, but genitals do matter when it comes to sex, is the bottom line. That is definitely a factor, a very big factor, which contributes to you having sex with that person. For example, a girl can be super attracted to a guy. And this isn't me being prejudiced against anyone who does, but there are some girls out there, they can be super attracted to a guy, and then when it comes down to it, his package might be a bit on the small side. Because of that, they might not enjoy having sex with them, and then because of that, they no longer want to have sex with them. So, whether we like it or not, genitals do play a part. And I think it's naive to pretend that it doesn't. It's not transphobic if someone's genitals turns you on. A lot of things in that video were contradicting. I think the point of the video was trying to say that if you're attracted to someone, that their genitals doesn't matter, but that is completely not true. Of course their genitals are going to matter, because ultimately that's what sex is. Look, if for you the genitals doesn't matter, right, then fine. That's great, there's nothing wrong with that. But for people where the genitals do matter, that's not transphobic, that's not sexist. Like, it just means it matters to them more than it matters to other people. For example, a lot of girls say they like tall guys, right? That doesn't mean that they hate guys who are on the small end or whatever, but it just means for them, that might be something that they rank highly in terms of what they're attracted to. For other girls, maybe they don't really care how tall the guy is. Yeah, maybe for some people, the genitals don't matter. I've never met anybody who's said that, unless maybe if they're bisexual, because they might be attracted to both sexes, so for them it's more about the person and they enjoy having sex with both sexes. But for the majority of people, the genitals are going to play a big part into them wanting to have sex with the person, and that's normal. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Hey, it was an interesting video. When I opened the video, I noticed that it had so many dislikes. I was like, what is said in this video could probably turn people off. And I think the fact of it is that it is very contradictory. And I think it's telling people that what they're naturally attracted to is wrong and somehow prejudice. It is kind of trying to tell people what they should be attracted to, and just let people live their lives. Like, if they're attracted to someone, great. If they're not, leave them alone. It's not your job, and it's not my job or anyone's job to tell you what you should be attracted to. Just live your life. So that was kind of an unplanned reaction. I wonder how many people actually think that way. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that someone's genitals should play a factor whether you want to have sex with them, or do you think that it shouldn't matter at all, and if it does matter, then it makes you prejudiced? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll make sure to respond to it if you do, and as always, keep it slick.
Pow.